welcome to the podcast. Welcome,
Hello,
dear.
hello.
Recently just woken up from your nap.
I have, yes.
Feeling refreshed?
Well, yes.
Yeah. You've been on your travels again this week?
I have, yes. Been to Normandy, France.
Yeah, how was that?
It was very good.
Yeah, you tour all the battlefields?
Most of them.
Yeah.
There's so many, you can't get around everything.
It was quite a big scrap from what I've heard.
Yeah.
Quite a big operation.
Yeah, I learnt loads.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
Good. Maybe we should do a podcast about D-Day one time.
Maybe, but...
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, in your absence, I have, of course, been very busy, as I like to be while you're away.
Yes, you do.
So as you know, since the podcast has been growing in popularity, I've been having my high-powered meetings with people in Hollywood. And it was an exciting week for me this week, because I got to meet George Lucas. It's very exciting, isn't it? So, anyway, George had heard me saying all these nice things about Star Wars, so he's like, come to Skywalker Ranch and we'll hang out. So that sounded like the most exciting thing that's ever happened. So I hopped on a plane and I went over to America to go and visit him.
All in this 1 week?
All in this week, and that's not all. There's other stuff I've done, which we'll get to shortly. So George comes and meets me at the gates, and he's like dressed like he normally is, you know, like someone who wanks in car parks. And he takes me all around his house, show me all his Star Wars stuff. He's got a little R2-D2 that follows him around, bleeping and things.
I want one of them.
Be good, wouldn't it? I'd like a little BB-8 that followed me around.
Yeah, definitely.
And we had a little lightsaber fight and stuff, and it was great. And then after that, I said, George, I need to interview you for the podcast. And he was all like, yeah, of course, in his little George Lucas voice. So here's that interview. So I'll just play that for you. So George, I've been a huge fan of your work for many years. It's a huge honour for me to talk to you. We've had a really fun day today. You've told me some pretty surprising things about yourself. We'll discuss them later. Thank you for being so candid in your responses. So firstly, since your last film, Red Tails, I believe, was quite poorly received, and you've since sold the rights to Star Wars. What have you been up to?
Trying to stay alive.
Oh, has surviving been difficult? I mean, aren't you a billionaire?
No matter how easy it looks on the outside, it is a very, very difficult struggle.
A struggle financially?
Struggle through the whole process of
what? Taking a shit?
There's a lot of times when you sit and you say, why am I doing this? I'll never make it. It's not going to happen. It's just...
What? What, really? You struggle with constipation?
It's much more difficult than one might think.
So I can imagine it's hard, but surely there's a medical solution that someone of your means could obtain quite easily.
I was in an accident that, in theory, no one could survive.
Wow. So that brought about your chronic constipation. So I take it from that answer that there is no medical solution to your problem. And that must have been hard to deal with at first.
That was a very dark period for me.
I've no doubt. So how did you come through this problem? What did you do?
Things.
What things specifically? I mean, when I'm bunged up, sometimes I'll just drink a Red Bull and a whole pot of coffee, sit down on the toilet with a magazine and just wait for the inevitable. I mean, did you take a similar approach?
It suddenly clicked in and started working, which was a great relief to me, because for up to that point I was feeling very desperate about the whole situation. I made a pact.
A pact? A pact what? Just to sit it out?
So I did it as sort of self-preservation. I said, I'm going to finish this, as painful as it is.
Well, yeah, it would be. So how was the eventual movement? I mean, well, not to put too fine a point on it. How was the shit?
Fortunately, it was huge, but it wasn't so huge, and it came so slowly that I was able to assimilate it a little bit.
Well, thanks for sharing that with me. I know it's probably quite traumatic to talk about. Did you manage to speak to your loved ones about this issue?
In the beginning, it wasn't something anybody was interested in.
People can be quite dismissive of things that don't personally affect them. What did people say when you told them you'd not pooped for months and months? So what did Spielberg say when you told him?
Boy, when that one hits, you're really going to be thrown for a loop.
Was he right? Did it affect you mentally?
Psychologically, it's a very, very difficult thing to cope with. And you really need time after an event like that in your life, especially if it comes very fast. I think you will be pushed to the brink of hopelessness before you come through the other side.
Before we move on, George, what's your toilet setup? I mean, I've mentioned my magazine coffee routine. When you finally cleared your blockage, did you use a specific toilet in your house? What was going on?
The door was absolutely locked, and there was a very, very high wall, and nobody got in.
Well, that was probably for the best. What did your wife make of all this?
I didn't care.
Oh, right, okay. Well, I suppose because your marriage broke down, was this solely down to your constipation, or was this because of sexual issues?
There's nothing worse than the frustration of having somebody who you feel doesn't get what you're doing.
I can imagine. What sort of thing would she say to you, like in bed?
Well, why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? I don't like that. Don't put that in there.
Oh, I see. I heard on another podcast that it was because she wouldn't let you have peanut butter and jam on your toast.
And usually those two things go together.
Exactly. I can see why that would lead to wider problems. So you left your wife and you moved into a hotel. That must have been nice.
So I got to make the most of it. And then the next day is I began in 2 extra days.
So you stayed in the hotel a long time. What did you think while living there?
Well, I'm here, and every day now is an extra day.
I mean, George, that's quite a literal interpretation of what staying in a hotel is. Were you getting some sort of reward scheme bonus or something? What happened if, for example, you booked a 2-week stay?
I've been given an extra day.
That sounds really nice, yeah. When you were a younger man, like say your late teens, early 20s, did you see your life panning out this way? What did a young George Lucas like to do with his life?
Before, when I was in high school, I just sort of wandered around.
All right, you just wandered around. Did you wander anywhere in particular?
Francisco, and everybody said, "Why are you going to San Francisco?" I said, "That's where I live." And
you walked to San Francisco? Like, what, from here?
And here I'm only 20, or 27.
Oh, right, okay. My God, I thought you'd walked across California for a minute. So, before we talk a little more about your film career, let's keep talking about George Lucas, the man. So, after your divorce, did you seek to get back into the dating world? Did you go after any women? What's your seduction technique?
Banging on doors, trying to get people to give me a chance.
Is it ever successful?
Here you spent your whole life just begging and, using every means at your disposal to get one person or 2 people to say yes to your... And then suddenly everybody says yes. Suddenly everybody wants you to do everything and anything you want. And then you have to start learning how to say no.
I see. So you were sexually promiscuous then. I'd heard rumours like you've been sleeping with a lot of Lucasfilm employees. Was that ever problematic?
You start doing them all, your life gets very unfocused, you get overwhelmed, and you collapse, basically.
Okay, so it's quite well known in some circles that you'd paid Hayden Christensen, who played Anakin in the prequels, that you'd paid him for sex once. It was apparent... this was after it was apparent he'd never work again, pretty much thanks to you. How did that come about?
So I called him up on the phone from London and I said, "Do you want to do this?" And he said, "Okay." And I said, "What am I going to do? I'm in Europe and I'm not going to be back for like 3 months and I want to get this thing off the ground." Made a deal with him for the whole money because there wasn't very much. It was so tiny that you could only get him to do it for the whole amount of money.
That's a pretty grim story. Lost a bit of respect for you after hearing that. How do you get a film made these days?
You talk real fast and you convince somebody that you should be doing a feature.
So you just sort of confuse them into letting you make a film. Do you think then that the fact that you've not properly written or prepared any of your films before making them since probably Return of the Jedi has led to the critics turning on you?
And critics have a tendency to, that's all they focus on, which is I like it, I don't like it. It's good, it's bad. And it doesn't work that way. And so you really have to not deal with that part of what happens. It's the same thing with the audience. I've made some movies that have, 10 people have gone seen. Nobody wanted to go see the movie. And some films that the people who went and saw them didn't like it. Probably, there's maybe a half a dozen of us that actually liked the movies.
That's the Phantom Menace you're talking about, isn't it? George! It's over, George. I have the moral high ground. You underestimate my power. Don't try it. Ah! You were the chosen one. It said that you'd bring balance to the franchise, not sell it to Disney. I hate you. You were our father, George. We loved you. So that was the George Lucas interview. As you can see at the end, I was forced to murder him.
Yep.
So yeah, what did you think of that?
I didn't realise he had so many issues.
He's a complex man. He exists on many levels, and as you heard, he's had problems with constipation.
Yeah, I know.
Issues with sex. His marriage breaking up, having to live in a hotel. But we don't have to worry anymore because he's dead.
Oh gosh.
So yeah, it's a bit of a sad ending, but it was interesting to hear from George. I personally enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm a bit shocked. To be honest.
It's a shocking ending, but I'm a hard-hitting interviewer. So anyway, let's talk about Dumbo before we get on to other issues. You went to see Dumbo, I did not.
Yes, I did.
Saw Shazam this week, and you did not. So
yeah.
I'll ask you questions about Dumbo, and you can ask me questions about Shazam.
Lovely, let's do that.
Okay, so briefly describe what happens in Dumbo, as most of us know what happens in Dumbo already.
Yeah, so it's pretty much, the same as the animated version. Mm-hmm. So it had Eva Green in it, Colin Farrell, Michael Keaton.
Eva Green.
Yeah, she is lovely, isn't she? And Danny DeVito.
Toy little Danny DeVito.
So it was obviously directed by Tim Burton. I do like his other stuff.
Yeah. That was one of the things I wanted to ask. Like, on a visual level, was it like really amazing? Because Tim Burton is great at like making the world look a certain way.
So it had all its glitz and glamour, obviously, and it was shot very well. I don't know if it was as good as the animated version.
That's what a lot of people are saying. It's got quite a very 47% critics approval on Rotten Tomatoes and about 60% with audiences.
Yeah, so I mean, I do think it is very well shot and it is a good film and it gets you where it should get you, makes you have a little tear in your eye, I suppose.
Oh, right, so it's...
But I don't know if it's as good as the animated version.
See, I haven't seen the animated version for a long time.
Yeah, I haven't either, so I can't really...
Maybe when it comes out on DVD, maybe we'll compare them.
Yeah, because it is shot very well and Eva Green's very good in it, obviously, and...
Everyone's saying Colin Farrell was really good.
Yeah, he was very good.
Most people say he's like the best thing in it. They say Michael Keaton looks a little bit bored.
Yeah.
Yeah. Danny DeVito is always great.
He was the ringmaster, wasn't he? So yeah, he was good. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know.
So not as good as the original.
No.
Yeah, that's majority of people saying that as well. It's kind of does it make you think. Like, I know you like a lot of these live action Disney remakes.
Yeah,
like, you like
I
Cinderella. I loved Mary Poppins, even though that was technically a live action film already. Lion King's coming up.
Yeah, so I am very intrigued about The Lion King.
That's your yardstick, innit? Because that's your favourite.
Yeah, I love The Lion King, and you know, like I've watched it ever since I was a kid and stuff. So it best be just as good. Otherwise,
because I've not watched any of them except Mary Poppins, and I think that was on a level just as good as the original.
Oh yeah, but Mary Poppins is sensational.
Yeah. We've covered the visually impressive. Was it as good as the original? Did you enjoy it?
I did enjoy it, but
not as much
I
as you hoped.
I thought it was a bit too much. You know, like where he obviously gets sent to like the place. You know,
he gets sent to like this Disney theme park,
fairground, doesn't he? And it is good. Like it is good, but I don't know whether it was a bit too long.
Yeah, a lot of people have said it is too long, and doesn't the ending? He does change the ending a bit, doesn't it? Because I haven't seen the original in so long.
Yeah, I haven't seen the original in a very long time.
But I think there's been a bit of controversy about this whole like him getting sent to this theme park. So they're saying it's Tim Burton like taking a dig at Disney, basically, even though they've just given him like millions of dollars to make this film for them.
I mean, it could be seen like that. Yeah, I would say if that's the way you're.
I just see it as weird.
It.
Like, I think if you don't want to do it, like, don't do
it.
Like, you've already done Alice in Wonderland. No one's forcing you to make these films, Tim.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe there was interference or something. You never know what goes on behind the scenes.
No, and it is a good movie, and I think kids will enjoy it. But I don't know if it will be one of those ones that
is it just better to
is
stay
always
and watch
on
the
your
cartoon?
shelf. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Same as Bambi. They've not remade Bambi for that particular reason. I think.
I think the difficulty with the ones that star like creatures is that they have to be CGI creatures. So they're kind of focusing on the ones that have got like more people in. Because like Dumbo, even in the cartoon, he's obviously central. Can he talk? I can't even remember if he can talk. No, he can't talk in a cartoon either. And he's like, there's like some creatures around him that can talk, but he can't talk.
Yeah, no animals talk in this. Really.
Yeah,
it's the kids, isn't it?
Yeah, and they did that. You said in the Cinderella, they got rid of like the talking animals as well.
Yeah. I used to like in Cinderella the little mice.
Wash the dishes,
Cinderella.
They're my favourite bits as well. I can't believe they got rid of them. I've got even less interest in watching Cinderella now, even though it's one of your top 10 favourite films.
It is a good film, yeah.
Would you recommend it?
Yes.
Who?
Probably families.
Yeah.
That sort of, a
good family
theme.
Movie.
Yeah, I would say it is a good family film. It teaches you all about right and wrong and, to love things.
Yeah. Good.
Animals.
Well, speaking of movies to recommend to families, let's talk about Shazam.
So, tell us about Shazam.
I mean, you get the plot from the trailer. Little Billy Batson gets superpowers from a wizard. When he says Shazam, he turns into a grown-up adult superhero. Then he fights a guy that gets essentially the same powers, but from evil people, who's played by Mark Strong. They fight basically at the end, and Shazam wins. And spoilers. That's what all superhero films go.
Yeah, because I really wanted to see this, but I just couldn't fit it in.
Well, yeah. I don't think you missed much, personally.
Maybe wait for DVD then?
Yeah. What surprised me is like the trailers were kind of more... made it look like it's going to be a bit like Deadpool, maybe, something like that. Like a bit cheeky, but it's not. It's for children.
Oh, no blood and gore?
No, absolutely none. No swear and anything like that. And I know superhero movies are for children, fair enough. But I would say like the Marvel films are for the whole family. It's something for everyone to enjoy. Maybe not mum, but...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mostly dads and sons, I suppose, or dads and daughters.
And obviously, the amount of money they make shows that... Yeah, like a lot of adults are obviously watching them and enjoying them. I obviously love them. I'm a bit of a nerd about it. Whereas, Shazam is for children. Like, there's very little there for a grown-up audience. I'd say.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I think as a children's film, it delivers. If I was a kid, I would love it. But I'm just confused by how massively well reviewed it's been by audiences and critics. It's like 91% critics and 90% audiences on Rotten Tomatoes. Maybe
the Americans have a different liking than we do. Brits, maybe.
That's it starts quite slowly, and not a lot happens, and I was quite bored at the start, and then he gets his Shazam powers, and all through the middle, it's really funny. It's really good fun film. It's like Zachary Levi, who plays like the grown-up Shazam.
Yeah,
he's really good. He plays like a kid, but obviously it's like big Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
And he
I
does
did
that.
think he'd do that well.
He's brilliant. Mark Strong's good, and the little kid Asher Angel, who plays Billy Batson, he's good too. And John Glover from Smallville turns up for a bit as well, which is always nice.
Right.
I thought he was dead.
I thought he was dead.
He does get killed by a demon in the film.
Oh no.
I didn't care for it much. I liked the bits where he's being Shazam. Yeah. At the end, it's like a really corny, really cheesy family film. And I say there's nothing wrong with that. It's not the kind of film I like, but it's obviously very popular.
Are you glad you went to watch it?
Yeah, because I would have probably felt like I'd missed out on something, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't recommend it to people like me. I would recommend it if you got kids. Take them because I love it. Yeah. The same as with Dumbo. Take your kids. It is for kids. So there's nothing wrong with making films that are for children.
No, nothing wrong with that.
No. So yeah.
Did you enjoy it though? In a way,
parts of it.
Yeah.
I didn't walk out like angry, like when I watched like Mary Queen of Scots or Alita Battle Angel. Alita Battle Angel didn't make me angry. It just made me very bored.
Yeah.
Because it was boring. Luckily as well, I went at 11 a.m. on a Friday, so there wasn't any children around, and I didn't look like a weirdo. Because if I had seen it, I think at a time when children would have been there, I would have looked like an absolute freak. So
without a child.
Yeah, I'm really glad I didn't go. Because I was on my own as well. Maybe it would have been alright if I was with you. But yeah, I would have looked slightly odd if there'd been families around. So yeah, that was Shazam and Dumbo. Take the kids. If you ain't got kids, don't bother. Simple as that. So while you've been away, as I said, I've been busy. I had to go and see George Lucas, obviously.
Yeah.
And also, I invented...
I don't know how you afforded that.
Oh, he paid. He's a billionaire.
Righto.
And then I stole some money from him after I murdered him.
Good.
Yes.
We all need a bit of money.
And that's why I'm taking you to Nando's later. Lucky girl.
Lovely.
So also, in the other 2 days while you're away, I invented a telephone that can phone into the past.
Okay.
Yeah. That was unexpected, wasn't it?
Yes, that is very unexpected.
And because on this day, the day of recording, was the day the Titanic began its maiden voyage. So I thought it'd be fun to use this new invention to speak to the captain of the Titanic.
Okay.
So that's what we're going to do now.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, let me dial it up. Okay. Looks like we're getting something.
Okay.
Yeah. Hello.
Yes? Who is this that I am speaking to?
It's Pete and Fran. We do a podcast. I've invented a phone that can phone back in time.
Hello, dear.
Hello. What's a podcast?
Well, it's like a radio show, but nobody listens to it.
I think that sounds like a waste of time.
Well, yeah, it is a bit, but it's fun, so that's why we do it.
I begin to see.
So, we've got some questions for you, and I'll get Fran to ask you one.
Hello, can I ask you a question?
Of course.
How's your trip going so far on the old ocean?
It's been a remarkably successful trip so far. Very well indeed. Everyone's enjoying their time on the liner. There's been no technical issues. We've had no pirates, kraken, sea monsters, things like that. And yes, generally, it's gone very, very smoothly indeed. Thank you for asking.
Okay. So my other question is, because I might know the answer to this, have you made any preparations for any emergencies? Maybe some lifeboats?
Well, there are lifeboats, but not enough for everyone, of course. We don't want to clutter the deck with all things like that. This ship's unsinkable. There's really no need for lifeboats, more just to make the people feel safe, you see.
Okay.
You see, what happens should we be breached in any way is the automatic doors will close, sealing off the water. It's essentially an impregnable hull. The only way this ship could sink is if it became over-encumbered and then tilted and broke in half. And the odds of that happening are 0.
Okay. My next question is then, for you, sir, are the passengers enjoying themselves?
Yes, especially the rich people. They're having
they
lots
are.
of lovely food, dancing and such like. Yes, every passenger that I have seen has told me what a wonderful time they are having on board. I've met some lovely young people. We've had lots of lovely meals, sitting round at a big circular table. I've met a loud woman from Texas who runs an oil company, and a man who's young and looks a little bit odd with hair. It's hard to describe him, but he had a lovely young fiancée, and I wish them the best of luck.
Okay. Have you met any nice passengers?
Oh, several, many lovely young people, as I've said. I met a young man named Jack Dalton, who was very handsome and quite a inspiring young go-getter of a man. He stood up on the front of the ship and he said, "I'm the king of the world." But what a foolish man, because I was up in the bridge, and therefore I am the king on board this ship, and therefore I am the king of the world. I also met a lovely young lady named Rose. She was with the man, as I described, who looked like he shouldn't have hair, but had the hair anyway. She was beautiful, and I wish that I had a drawing of her naked. If there's one kicking around the ship, I'll make sure my staff bring it to me. I think they'd make a lovely couple if they got together, but they're from rather different ends of the social spectrum, so probably not. But if they did get together, I'd predict they'd live a long and happy life together.
Righto. So, last question.
Oh, good, yes, I must get on with driving the ship.
What can you see out of your window right now?
Oh, very little. The Atlantic's quite wide and enormous, and it's night time now, so it's very difficult to see. It's pretty quiet. We've barely seen another ship. We've barely seen oh my God, an iceberg!
Oh, seems like we've lost Captain Edward John Smith there. I didn't know that the Titanic hit an iceberg. I thought that was just in the film.
Oh, I thought it was real.
Oh, really should have done some research there. I thought it had got all the way to New York.
No.
Oh,
The second one didn't it?
the second Titanic.
Well, I don't know. There was another ship, wasn't there?
Ships have since reached America. Yeah, so that was fun talking to Captain Edward John Smith. I do hope that the Titanic did successfully make it. Maybe we'll follow that up in future episodes.
Yes.
Yes. Well, I think we've messed about and
We've
talked
done loads.
nonsense. We've done lots. Some new features there. Hopefully I'll have some more interviews with people coming up in future episodes. It depends whether they invite me out. I mean, the one with George did end in tragedy, so hopefully the other ones will be a bit more less death in them, shall we say.
Hopefully.
And yeah, I'll be using the time phone again in the next episode.
Okay, who are we talking to? Do we know yet?
Well, it will depend on what happens on the day, because there's no point just ringing the past. Like, I mean, who would you like to talk to in history?
I'll have to have a think.
Yeah, that's a big question, really.
Yeah, that's too big a question for
if
now.
Any of the listeners have a preference for someone they'd like us to speak to, we'll do our best to get hold of them on the time frame.
Yes, we
Yeah.
will.
Looking forward ahead. Ooh, excuse me, burped there. Looking forward ahead in time. So we got some films coming up in April.
Yeah.
We got Hellboy, Avengers Endgame, Brightburn. I'm not sure whether that comes out this month or in May. If you're not aware of Brightburn, because it's been a bit
No, I've not heard of
low
that.
down. Yeah, it's James Gunn, who does the Guardians of the Galaxy films.
Okay.
And it's basically like a horror movie, but the kid's got superpowers. It's like Superman's powers, but he is evil, basically.
Oh.
Yeah, the trailer looks really good. Yeah, I think there's a bit of confusion online about when it's coming out in the UK. I'm not sure if it's April or May. If it's April, then we'll go see it.
If it's not, we'll go see it in May.
Exactly. So yeah, in May as well, loads of good stuff. Another Disney live action, Aladdin, is coming.
So I have to confess something.
Yeah.
So when I was a kid with my sister, like we must have been about, I don't know, like between the ages of 7 and 13 or 14, and we used to know all the songs to Aladdin.
Prince Ali.
Yeah.
I don't think I can remember any of the other ones.
I definitely can. Especially when they're on the magic carpet ride.
Yeah. I think Will Smith's a good choice.
Yeah, for the genie.
Oh, isn't the magic carpet ride a whole new
New
world?
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Might have to get my sister on that one.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, Will Smith as the genie, I think, is a good choice.
Yes.
Yeah. Shame we couldn't get Robin Williams back, but never mind.
Never mind.
Godzilla King of Monsters is coming out in May.
Another Godzilla.
This one's all the Godzilla monsters fighting each other. It's going to be absolutely amazing.
I want Godzilla to survive, though. I like him.
Oh, he will. He's King of Monsters.
Okay.
John Wick 3 is coming. Yeah, I didn't even go and see John Wick 2, but
Yeah, me
I've
neither.
watched it since and it is good. I might go to the cinema.
I'm looking forward to this one. Detective Pikachu.
Yeah, that looks really funny.
Yeah.
I have no interest in Pokemon.
No, I don't, but I think
the
it'll
film
be
looks
fun.
really good, yeah.
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 And it's what's his name? Who
Ryan
plays,
Reynolds' voice, playing
plays
Pikachu.
the Pikachu man.
Yeah, so that'll be fun. I'm something to look forward to. And the Elton John biopic, Rocket Man.
Which I think may shed a few tears. I may shed a few tears.
Well, yeah, I got a bit misted up watching the extended trailer the other day. So
Yeah.
it's going to be like Bohemian Rhapsody for me. I think it's going to get me. One of those films that makes me cry.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, yeah, lots of fun stuff coming up. We're going to do some more You Hate It, I Love It at some point as well. And something I'm excited to do is compare two Sylvester Stallone movies, Rhinestone and Over the Top. Which are not very well known because they're really bad.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Cobra or something.
Oh, yeah, we need to do a deep dive into Cobra at some
and Rocky
point.
as well. I love Rocky.
Rocky's a good film. There's no
Oh.
point talking about a good film. Cobra's awful.
I like Cobra.
It's terrible.
I love it. I think it's great.
Oh, God, no. It's my least favourite Stallone movie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but we should still do a deep dive into it. You do a You Hate It, I Love It, or just watch Cobra.
Yeah.
Yeah, so lots to look forward to on the podcast. There'll be another episode of Sketch a Bit up this week. And thanks to all the people that have submitted sketches.
Yes.
And to all the people that listen to it, because lots more people are listening to the sketch show than they are to the main podcast. So if you've stumbled across this from Sketch a Bit, keep listening, because it's fun.
Please.
Might still be finding our feet, but there's still lots of fun to be had on the main podcast. So yeah. Thanks for listening. If you want to get in contact, you can contact me on Gmail, PeteLanghelt30 at gmail.com. Langhelt spelt Lang.
Helt.
That is correct. And we can get you on Instagram.
Yeah, Francis Langhelt.
Yeah. It's just Francis Langhelt.
That's it.
Wow. Yeah. See,
Easy enough.
Sometimes having a weird second name is useful. Yeah. Because you get to have your own name on Instagram.
Well, you can have whatever you want. Yeah.
Well, not any name. If you were called like Sarah Smith, you'd be like Sarah Smith 8952 or something.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. No one wants numbers after their name.
I don't know. Some people, yeah.
You're the only Francis Langhout on Instagram.
Hopefully, yeah.
I'm on there too, but I very rarely use it. You're best if you want to talk to me. Find
On
me
Twitter.
on Twitter at Pete Langhout. That's my full name as well, because there's not many Langhouts.
Very unimaginative.
And you're on there as well, but you don't really use Twitter.
I don't really go on Twitter.
If you want to talk to Fran, talk to her on Instagram. If you want
Yes.
to talk to me on Twitter. And I will be making an Instagram page for the podcast at some point, so we'll keep you updated on that if you want to follow that, and that'll be just podcast news, not anything else, and that's going on in our lives, so you won't have to listen to our shit. All right, that's all for this week.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye, bye,
Bye.
bye,
Bye.
bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.